Okay, says I'm back. All right, this is part two. Orbs continued. Not quite sure where I left off. I know I was working on. Um, I've got a marker in my gallery, but since I'm back on camera myself, and I'll share the screen here in a minute. You got to look at my ugly face. Understand that while I was taking these pictures, I was writing these questions, answers down. And I asked this one question. I was like, is there anything more that you can tell me about yourselves as orbs? And it was like, well, orbs are like people, and that there are many types of people, many types of lives, this, that, and the other thing. Some people are artists, some people are killers, some people are, whatever. So there's a broad spectrum in the spirit world, as well as a broad spectrum of people on this planet. So it's like not all orbs are just fit this one particular thing. All right. But they are all orbs in that that's the easiest form of energy for these things to form. So in the universe where people try to talk about flat earth and things, okay, but in the real world, even in spirit worlds, things have a tendency to find round. They're not triangular shaped, or they may be a little oblong or whatever, but they're basically things in the universe are round. Our cells are basically round, a lot of our blood cells and so forth. So the idea of putting forth into the fourth, fifth dimension or whatever is that, things universally are round. They circle. They take these shapes because it works best. Planets are round, not square or oblong. Now, not to say that's not the same thing as asteroids that are pieces of rock that are whatever. But, when you look out there in the grand expanse of the universe, things are round. So, but the different colors of orbs do define, I want to say who they are. If they're really red orbs, they're like, I don't know, there's nastiness that comes out of there. Now, the red orbs that I saw weren't of that ilk to me, and could very well have been lens flares because of the setting I was using and the flash. Okay. So I get it, I understand it, but then in the other pictures that I've showed, those red orbs aren't there. So it's like they come, they go, they hang around. I was sitting there and I would just move this way to take a picture. And then I'd move this way, and then this way, and then forward, and then this way, and then this way, and then this way. Truck was over here. Okay. So, and then I'd take a picture across, and then I'd lift the camera up, and then I'd come back around, come back around, come back around, come back around. And that's how I was taking pictures. So that's what you're seeing. You're seeing me. If you see the beach, that's on my right hand side. And I was holding the camera over here. Had to turn slightly to get up the beach good, because I was down by the edge of the water. So, but I kept, and the moon was over here on this side. So taking pictures back around like this, and then back to the back of the edge of the truck. So over the consequential pictures that I've showed, and you can see the timestamps yourself, what started out at the beginning with these great big red orbs and everything right there by the truck, and later on in the same position, I'm still sitting in the same chair. I'm like, what's that? What are those things? They moved. They weren't there. I couldn't repeat the same lens flare. I couldn't get the same red ones to pop up. I couldn't get the thing with the hat. I couldn't get any. I couldn't duplicate it. 15 minutes later. So one could say, well, this and that and that and this and this and that. The flame on the thingy was kerosene. It's a little torch, tiki torch, and I just set it straight on the ground. I wanted it flat on the ground so the light wasn't up here messing with the camera. And so I scratched my head and I go, all I did was basically change the flash settings. That's it. I Once I get the um, exposure setting, I don't like to mess with that too much. Now, towards the end of it, I did because I was trying to get different pictures of the moon having nothing to do with orbs. So anyway, there's a couple other pictures I wanted to show, but the idea of the smoke, where I was sitting in the truck, it was 20 feet over there by this little kerosene thing. And it was blowing from my back out towards the water. The idea that the smoke turned to the right, came across the water this way, and then and turned into this big column of smoke for those last few pictures that I took. And I'm going to start with those because that smoke just shouldn't have come over there. It wasn't that thick over by the kerosene lamp. There shouldn't have been all that smoke in front of me. I kept thinking, where's the smoke coming from? There's nothing else lit. I don't have a cigarette. And why the smoke congealed right in front of me for those few pictures, I still don't have a clue, except that there is form in that smoke. Let me share the screen. I hope we'll just go right over application window, pick this particular picture here, and say share and present to everyone. Okay, it says I am. All right, let me zoom this in so you all can see. And then let me, all right, I'm going to go back to the smoke picture that I was talking about. That's not the one, this one. That picture there shouldn't have been smoke there. There just should not have been smoke there. And let's see, let me go back. That's when it started forming again the second time. This is the one that looks like there's something standing there. That was the first one that the smoke really started to do. Now it was forming in this picture off to the left over here a little bit, and nope, wrong picture. I wanted to show you where okay, see where the smoke is in this picture? That's off to my left, and you can tell I'm sitting in a chair by the truck. That thing's a good 20 feet away from me, and you can see it is not blowing towards me. It is blowing away from me. But just several minutes later, you can see it's still basically going out towards the water. I turned and took a picture of the trees. That's the moon. That's the moon in the center. I'm just scrolling through these real quick. But in the course of a few minutes of me turning to the right and taking these other pictures, then as I turn around forward, this is what appears. So this is only the course of a few minutes, and this cloud appears in front of me. This is the next one. You can still see that there's form in it. I mean, this thing is dead right in front of me. I mean, 2 feet away, maybe. Third picture, straight in front of me, no form. Next picture, the smoke comes back and it's trying to take a shape. Next picture, almost straight in front of me. Again, straight in front of me. Where'd the smoke go? It was just there. It was just there. Where'd the smoke go? I turned to the right a little bit. You saw the moon in this last picture up here in the top right. So then I point the camera back more in front of me. Next picture. Now the smoke is back. The course of a few minutes. Next picture. There's the shape again. Where in the hell did that come from? What the hell is it? You know? And then I turned to the right just a little bit, took the same picture, turned to the right a little bit more, and you can tell that there's smoke in the picture. So it's moved to my right towards the moon. In the next picture, the smoke has dissipated. I've moved a little bit more to the right, but this picture here, the smoke is gone. So it's like, what the hell? Kind of, sort of, still looking for it. Now that is the moon there, the brightest one, and I've turned to the right more to see what if there was anything else. Now I've turned all the way back to the left again, and down in the bottom you can see where the smoke is. How did that big? You can see it's not producing much smoke. So how did that big glob of smoke get right in front of me from that little thing over there, and from what the smoke that you see in the picture? I don't get it. Where's all that smoke that was in front of me? Where's the cloud? I don't get it. So something really strange happened. You, I can assure you there. Now, I'm just trying to show you what the sky looked like. This is a different camera setting to show blue, but I wanted to show how this great big circle was the orb in the sky around the moon, ring around the moon. I changed camera settings here, and so you could see it in two different types of settings. And I'm just going to flip down through this. Now, this is that light you see there. I'm out on the water, and that's my truck. I'm going to zoom in if it'll let me. So in the background, you can see the trees, and that's the sky. That's the west. The moon's sitting over there. Now, that's my truck where I was sitting, and that's the little fiery thing that I had. So I'm sitting out on the middle of the lake right now when I took that picture, just to give a reference. And I'm going to skip through a couple of these. But where I was sitting in the middle of the lake, let me go back one. I took a picture. You can see way off in the distance, you can see that light and across the lake. But in the forefront, you can see these orbs. I'm out in the middle of the lake, and this is what was there. So these orbs are right overhead when I took the picture. Again, way off in the distance, I'm out in the middle of the lake. Oh my. Fudge. I don't know if I'm still there. It says I am. 5:35. I'm out in the middle of the lake. I'm going to keep going for a second. And way off in the distance, you can see. It says I'm YouTubing. I just sent a message. I got somebody keeping an eye on me here. It says I'm live. So I wanted to go back to this, and these were pictures of the moon I was taking, but there were objects between me and the moon. And I was trying different camera settings. Let me flip through these real quick. You can see the moon's dead in the middle, and I was using a different flash. and all of these other orbs are all around me, and I'm out in the middle of the lake. So it's like they were just right in front of the camera. And I ran across these areas where there were like swarms of something. And see, it's not there in that picture, but it is in that one. And I don't understand what all that. If you zoom in a little bit, you can tell there's a lot of orbs in there, and they traveled in swarms. It was really strange. Um, just a couple more. I wanted to give an idea. Sunrise was coming. That's the moon setting. I was trying to get what that's about what it really looked like. That's without a flash. So that's really what the sky looked like. You can see the nose of my kayak there at 5:40 in the morning. Um, the camera actually got it better. You can see the reflection off of the water. I was trying to get the reflection of the water. Now, I used a flash here in the same area, and you can see that when I use the flash, the orbs show up. Same picture, same direction, with the flash, without the flash, and orbs, no orbs. And all I did was using a flash, but I just moved away from the moon, and you can see they're all over the place. So they were following me out there in the middle of the lake. Now I really changed the setting on the camera, um, and using a flash because you can see the end of the kayak, but you can only see a few of the orbs because I was using that one flash automatic. You can't see the moon too much, but all of a sudden these things start appearing even closer in clusters, and you can tell by this picture I'm pointing in the same direction because there's the moon at 5:43. 5:43, 30 seconds later, there's all these orbs that move into view in between me and the moon. So there was nothing there 30 seconds before, and now there's this great big cloud of orbs. Next picture, 30 seconds later, not as many, but they're still there. Um, they've moved away. Now I was getting a reflection off of the kayak, and I was getting all kinds of weird stuff. So just sharing these pictures, but you can tell the moon is way off on the right, just off of the edge over there. But all these other orbs were literally out in the middle of the lake. There's another cluster that moved back into the camera. They moved out of view because there's the moon again. I changed cameras a little bit. I moved closer to the water, and that's what was seen. I raised it up a little bit off of the water, a little bit more, a little bit more. I changed the camera setting, and that's where I was sitting. So this picture here and this picture is looking in that direction, and the moon was just off of the to the side. So that's what it really looked like at that time in the morning. So I changed camera settings again, and same. I'm pointing in the same direction. There's all the orbs. They come back out. That's the moon in the distance. All I did was change the camera setting slightly, but you can see all the orbs and down close to the water. Are they moving? There's the front of my kayak. There's the moon. Where did they go? Another picture. 30 seconds later, all the orbs come back into view. They were like traveling in great big packs or like clouds. It was really odd to be there, see them, not see them, see the moon in the background. You know, it's like these. I I know I was close to the kayak and was probably getting a reflection off the kayak, but there were still odd colors in there, and there was no other light on except the flash. So as I come through these, I was pointing in the same direction. I changed the camera setting from here at 549 to here at 549. So all I did was change the setting. That's what I was looking at. So at a closed view and with a flash on, that's what was visible with a more closed shutter and the flash on. Without the flash and a slight different setting, and that's what the sky, the water looked like. And that's the moon setting. A lot of clouds interfering, and that's just another picture of the sky as it got lighter. So I'm going through these. You can see I was using that, using that, using that. I changed the setting. There's still the moon. There's still the moon and up into some trees. And look at the orbs that appeared again. It's the same day, the same thing. It's 3 minutes later with a slight change of my camera settings. All I did was close the aperture down. There's the moon, and look at that cluster of orbs again that showed up. And again, this is where I'm looking with one camera setting, and then this is what it looks like with the cameras and the flash on. So you say, well, I don't know, were they there? Well, they're there in the picture. You can tell this is 553, so I'm going in succession. All I'm doing is changing the exposure and turning on and off the flash. That's all I'm doing. I'm out in the middle of the lake. Now, this is a little bit on the left-hand side here. That is some trees on the opposite side of where my truck was parked. So I'm on the opposite side, kind of drifting into that tree. But it's still a good ways off. It's not like I was under it. But so all these other orbs, another shot at the moon, 554. There's a red thingy kind of appeared there again. Gonna just flip through. Kayak, doesn't seem to be anything there. I lift up a little bit. Now, way off in the distance, there's a light. The only thing you can see, that's where my truck is. That's that light over there. All right. Next one, off in the distance. And the light is still off in the distance there. But now all of a sudden, I've got all these orbs that have appeared. All of a sudden, the same direction. And like, all right, where them little buggers come from? Because right there in the front, in this middle of the center of the thing, there's a little light right there. That's my truck in the distance. And look at all the orbs that came back. Another picture, 30 seconds later, you can still see where my truck is back there, where the fire is. It's still there in the distance. There's no orbs. Next picture, bump, da-da-dum, they're back again. There's my truck off in the distance. So, you know, these things aren't static. They're not in one place. They're moving around. And I'm looking up more. They're all around me in the middle of the lake. So off in the distance is my truck. I'm flipping through these. Actually, my truck is way off to the right, but there's the moon again. And then this is my change, and that's what it looked like with more exposure, so you can see what it looks like. And you can see off in the distance, there's my truck. There's that light that I was showing you. And this is almost 6 o'clock in the morning. There's my truck again, off in the distance. There's the sky. There's a bad picture of me. I was trying to get me with the moon in the background, but everything was moving, so was I. So y'all seen my ugly mug enough. I just wanted to put myself with the moon in it. There's my big ass nose. So, but anyway, the sun was coming up, and I don't have any other orb pictures. I do have a couple of pictures of what the water looks like, what it looked like as the sun was coming up, and so I'd share a couple of these here at the end. Um, Down in the trees, it was still dark. So, when I got onto the river and off of the lake, there were places that were still dark. And showing you the river, some open areas. What the hell is that in the middle? Whoa. That ain't, whatever there is in the middle of that ain't supposed to be there. There's nothing there. Whatever that is that lit up that screen right there. Wow, it's there. There's nothing there. What is that? Holy mackerel. Oh, I know what that is. Okay. All right. That's a strip hanging in a tree. Okay. Sorry about that. Got a little, what the hell? Alligator country. Beautiful part of the lake there. It's actually on the river. No reflection on the water. You can tell in a couple of these how green the water is. It was really strange how the light was coming through there on that morning. And I was looking at the camera and I was like, you can tell that the water's an off color. And it seemed like the sun, as it was coming up behind me, was reflecting off the water and then up off the trees. But the camera didn't seem like it was catching the right colors to me. It seemed like the colors were off. But anyway, um, let's see. How do I get back out of this? And I'm going to. Okay, stop screen sharing. All right, it's been another hour since I started part 2. And that gets you into some of the other pictures that I took, and there's still some more of those. But the pictures of the orbs and what I discussed, that I wrote down what the beings were telling me, was that yes, there are all sizes and shapes of us. Yes, we're all energy beings of one form or another. I was really interested. The one answer that I got that I'd like to reshare with you again before I leave you with this, and thank you, Breaking Dawn. I hope the wrench stayed there, and greetings and blessings to anybody else who was there. Um, so the answer about what are orbs and so forth, and the orbs are souls, they're soul energies, and they exist in many forms. And meaning that orbs in the shapes that I was taking pictures of, this is just one of the examples of how these energies can exist in other realms, in the fourth dimension, and however you'd like to look at it. But the thing is that they do exist. And so I went through the pictures, regardless of where I was to the shore. And I was a way off when I showed you those pictures of my truck and the orbs around me out in the middle of the lake. And so it's not like they were just on the shore. So I'm going to bring this up. This video has been a little long, but I want to bring this up in that it seems like orbs are attracted to water, and there are more orbs near and around water. Not supposed to be. It says I'm still broadcasting. says I'm on. So I'm going to wrap this up. Um, but here was the part that really got me. Some orbs are um, some orbs are spirits who have stayed behind, some on purpose, but others were forced to stay. And yes, there are some orbs that are new to this realm and this reality, and that they are, and they made me spell it in big letters, and they are here to help us. But not all of the new orbs, beings, or whatever are referring to new ones. Not all new orbs or spheres are here to help us. Some of them are bad, but they said that most of the new orbs, the ones that stayed behind, and apparently some of them that were forced to stay behind, it's almost like a trapped ghost, I guess. But they're to stay behind, and yes, they are here to help us. And if we would listen, open our hearts, and allow these entities to speak with us. Now, I don't mean channel them. I'm just, just if you feel that they might be around, just kind of, hey, are you an orb? Are you a spirit nearby? And could you just say yes or no and clear it with my higher self first? You don't want to enter. You don't want just any kind of being to come into you and enter into you. And I had permission through my spirit guide through this contact that allowed me to take pictures. And after I was done writing the stuff down, that lavender one that I talked about early on wasn't in the pictures anymore. And that was the one that said that they said that that's who was talking to me. So all I can do is they said, go back and tell the story. And if people want to, call you crazy, well, they call me crazy anyway. But I can show you over the course of the time that I was sitting there in that chair, 40 minutes or so, is that in some pictures they're there and some pictures they're gone. And it's like, and I was sitting in the same chair. The only thing I did was turn off the camera long enough to write some of this stuff down. I didn't move the chair. I didn't move. And I turned the camera back on, started taking pictures this way again, back of the truck over here, back around like this. And so it gives you an idea of, I didn't make this up. I'm taking pictures as fast as they'll go while I'm taking them, as fast as the flash will recover. And you can see them moving from frame to frame. Now, and you can also, as I explained, the different flashes that I used. When the background is really dark, it was using the automatic flash. When it was dark in the background, but a little more foreground, some of the clouds in the background, that was the always on flash. The one with where the clouds and the moon and the stroke, that was a synchronized flash. So that's basically all I changed. I changed the exposure. I increased the exposure and then I decreased it once because I was like, it's already too bright. Some of the last pictures that I took of the orbs as the moon was setting and the sun was coming up, I had shut the exposure down, or instead of being just zero, I was like plus 1.1 and 1/3 to allow more light to come in. But then as it started getting too light, I closed the exposure down to more to like, no plus, no minus. And then I took flashes. Then I took the flash off and just took a picture of the outside. So anyway, but it gives you an idea that simply by changing the exposure and by changing the flash, you will get different results with the orbs. But regardless of what the background was, as far as the blue sky, the orbs were always there. If I shut the exposure down, took a flash picture, they were there. 2 frames later, I changed the exposure. There's the moon, there's the sky. The orbs are still there. It's just I just changed the camera settings. They didn't disappear. The normal light allows them to, disintegrate in, no, that's not right, fade into our natural light. But anyway, to the point though, they didn't go anywhere. Those orbs were still there. It just got light. And my camera, I knew I'd been taking pictures for 2 hours almost, and it was time for me to, give the camera a rest. And I wanted to go down the river a little ways and take a few pictures, which I did. But anyway, so I hope that you found this interesting. I know it's been very interesting to me. I love sharing these pictures with you. Now, I have some others too, but these are the latest ones. And I just thought that there was enough in there, especially the story that went with it, because I spoke to that one lavender being, and it was like, many of us are here to help you, and you don't have to channel them. Just ask if you need a little pick me up with a prayer, and just ask if there are any spear beings around me, any orb beings around me that are good beings and would like to share their energy, come give me a hug, kind of thing. And it was like, but if you've got some kind of malintent or ill intent yourself, or your energy is really crappy, now if you've got negative energy and you tell the beings around you, hey, look, I'm in a lousy mood, I want to get out of the lousy mood, will you help me? If you're trying to get in touch with orbs and you're just like, oh, they damn orbs, they should help. Man, no, 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 can't go there. You have to go with respect and honor. And one of the things that I haven't said is that while I was there, I did a ceremony to ask the spirits there if they would allow me to take their picture. I drummed. The drum is back over here. I played the flute. And so I tried to bring honor to the beings there before I ever took the first picture. I went waded into the water and I said, I'm Hawkeye Two Feathers. You know me because I've been here before, but I'm here to bring peace and honor and, harmony. As I come, that's what I bring. And I wish to share it, whatever. That's why I'm here. And I'm also here to meet this particular time and to meet one of these spear beings. And it was like the contact was almost immediately. Here I am. It was always, I'm over here, take a picture over here. It was never anywhere else, up the beach over there. Nah, the being wasn't over there. It was standing between me and the fire. And it kept saying, I'm over here. So that's why I kept taking pictures with the end of my truck in it. They kept saying, I'm over here. That's where that lavender being was, that orb. So, real or not, it is to me. I showed you the pictures as they happened in the succession that they did. And I just want to say, I love you all. Thank you. The biggest reason for this is not so much that you believe me. Believe that there are other types of beings, orbs, spheres, souls, other energies. That whatever that was that created itself in that smoke, it should not have happened. Those frames that I showed you in that few minutes, that smoke was way on the other side and nowhere near what showed up in front of me when I took those pictures. Strange things, especially when you ask, when you're prepared. Now, I listened to my spirit guide. They literally drug my ass down there and said, you're going to do this because there's stuff in here. There's a story in here. And then they want me to bring this back and share it with you. So I thank you for part 2. And anything else that comes up, I've got some other subjects about some of these. I'm going to pick a couple of these out and maybe do another video of just certain ones that I would like to point out some things. But the bottom line is about the orbs. My friends, they do exist. And trust in yourself, trust in your core self. If you allow yourself to pick up some of these beings, there's usually a spokesperson. They all don't want to chat, kind of thing. So if you're in an area where you feel that they may be around, ask, are there any orb beings around me? And would you share? Ask your spirit guide. Make sure you don't get some crackpot out here that's floating around, or some evil nemesis kind of thing. Always check with your higher self. But they do exist. They do exist. They do. They do. They do. They do. And I'm here to just bring you more pictures. And I've got some pictures of, I've got had some up in the tree, outside my house here. And I'd taken pictures before, but never, always usually close to the ground. And I noticed a while back that if you point up towards the trees a lot, I don't know, the orbs seem to like to hang out in the trees. There they are. I got them around my house too. So blessings to all of you. And I'll close with a short prayer. I continue to pray that each and every one of you uh, will continue to accept and receive the healings, the knowledge, and the wisdom from the universe. I'm sorry I can't interact with you in this mode, in this medium. I can't see the chat room. But know that I love you. Know that I continue to pray. I continue to pray that you, your friends, your family, your relatives, and all of your relations will continue to accept and receive these blessings from the universe. Accept that other beings exist. Accept that there are beings out there, and that not all of them are bad, nasty, woolly boogers. Continue to pray for you and your friends, your family, and all of your relations, that you will continue to accept, receive, and to share the blessings and the knowledge from the universe, from the quantum. Interesting things are out there when you allow yourselves to do so. So I will continue my prayers for you. You keep spreading the good knowledge, and I'll keep hanging in there and going where spirit leads me to take pictures and things, and relay messages onto you all as much as I can. So with that said, I'm David Nome, Hawkeye Two Feathers. Oh, by the way, um, while I was out on the river lake the other morning, I found two feathers. One of them they're both from an egret. And I had been complaining that I wasn't seeing an egret. This one kind of followed me around the other morning. I thought it was interesting. And I went over to a spot where Spirit said, "Hey, you want a feather?" And I was like, wow, I haven't had a feather in a while. And guess what? Hawkeye found two feathers again. It's been a long time since I've had two feathers come to me. Of one feather, a pin feather, part of a feather, but two feathers. So that in itself was a sign to me the whole journey of yesterday, well, the other morning, and then finding two feathers, both from the same bird in the same area, and blessed by the fact that the bird stayed in the area, which they don't normally do. So I was blessed by the participation of the bird and by having new feathers, two feathers to be exact. So the spirit talk, especially when you listen and pay attention. So Hawkeye Two Feathers had two egret feathers from the swamp to add to his collection, and to also bring home to you proof the spirits were nice to me the other morning. They gave me two feathers to say job well done, if you will, my gold star. So blessings, my friend. Keep up the good work, and until next time, I'm out of here. It's